The city was alive that afternoon, cars honking, people rushing across streets. The sound of vendors shouting, and raindrops starting to fall gently from the gray sky. Amid all that noise and movement, two boys were about to meet in a way that would change both their lives forever. Liam was sitting in the back seat of his father's black car, staring out of the tinted window. He was only 10 years old, but he looked like a prince from a storybook. Clean uniform, shiny shoes, and neatly combed blonde hair. His father, Mr. Anderson, was a wealthy businessman known throughout the city. Liam had never known what it felt like to be hungry or cold. Everything he wanted was always there: food, toys, even people who worked in his house to make his life easier. Yet, despite all that comfort, Liam was a quiet boy. His father was always busy, and his mother had passed away when he was small. He often felt lonely, sitting in silence while his father spoke on phone calls about meetings and money. On the other side of that same city, not far from where Liam's car was driving, was a boy named Arjun. He was about the same age as Liam, but his life couldn't have been more different. His clothes were worn out and covered in dirt, his hair messy, and his feet bare. Every day he sold flowers or small toys at traffic lights, earning just enough to buy a piece of bread for dinner. Yet, Arjun wasn't sad or bitter. He had learned to smile even when life was hard. He found joy in small things, like sharing food with other street kids or watching the city lights at night. That day, the sky turned darker and heavier. Clouds rumbled like angry drums, and soon rain began to fall harder. Arjun ran to find shelter near a busy crossing, holding the small tray of toys close to his chest to keep them from getting wet. Cars slowed down as the rain fell harder, their headlights reflecting on the wet road. Meanwhile, Liam's car moved slowly through the same intersection. His father sat in the front seat, scrolling through his phone, talking to someone about a big business deal. "Yes, I'll be there in 10 minutes, he said. But just as he hung up, a loud sound shattered the calm bang. Another car had lost control on the slippery road and crashed into theirs. The impact was sudden and violent. The front of Mr. Anderson's car hit a street pole, and the airbag burst open. Liam screamed. His father, dazed and hurt, tried to move, but his leg was trapped under the steering wheel. Smoke began to rise from the engine, and the smell of burning fuel filled the air. "Dad!" Liam shouted, tears mixing with the rain that was now pouring through the open window. "Dad, get out!" But his father groaned in pain, unable to move. The people on the street began to gather, but no one dared to come close. The car looked like it could explode any moment. Everyone just stood there, afraid. Arjun, who had been standing under a small shed nearby, saw everything. His heart pounded. Without thinking twice, he dropped his tray of toys and ran toward the car. "Hey, stop!" Someone shouted, but he didn't listen. The smoke was thicker now, and the sound of Liam crying was clear even through the noise of the rain. Arjun reached the car window and saw Liam's terrified face. "Don't be scared," he said quickly. "I'll help you." Liam looked at him, confused. This boy, wet, barefoot, poor, didn't look like anyone he had ever spoken to before. But his voice was calm and full of courage. Arjun tried the back door. It was jammed. He ran around to the other side, coughing from the smoke. Finally, he managed to pull the handle hard enough, and the door opened. "Come on," he shouted. "Get out." Liam climbed out, trembling. "My father, he's stuck." Arjun looked through the smoke and saw Mr. Anderson struggling inside. He didn't hesitate. He climbed into the car through the broken window, ignoring the heat and the pain as small sparks burned his arms. The steering wheel was twisted, trapping Mr. Anderson's leg. Arjun tried to push it, but it didn't move. He looked around, spotted a metal rod lying nearby, and grabbed it. Using all his strength, he forced the steering wheel upward, just enough for Mr. Anderson to pull his leg free. "Go." Arjun shouted, "Get out now." Together, they stumbled out of the car just as a small fire burst near the engine. Liam ran to his father, hugging him tightly. Arjun fell to the ground, coughing and gasping for breath, his hands trembling. People started rushing over now that the danger was over. But no one noticed the poor boy lying in the rain. Exhausted and soaked, an ambulance arrived a few minutes later. Mr. Anderson was hurt, but conscious. He was being helped into the vehicle when Liam turned around, looking for the boy who had saved them. He found Arjun sitting on the curb, shivering, clutching his arm that had a deep cut. Liam ran to him. "You saved us," he said softly, tears still in his eyes. "Thank you." Arjun smiled faintly, trying to hide the pain. "It's okay. You're safe now." Before Liam could say more, the paramedics called him back to his father. As they drove away, Liam looked out the window, watching the boy disappear into the rain. He didn't even know his name. That night, as Liam sat by his father's hospital bed, his mind couldn't stop thinking about the street boy, the one who risked his life for them without asking for anything in return. He had seen many people in his life, rich, famous, powerful, but none had shown the kind of bravery that boy had. For the first time, Liam felt something new in his heart, a deep respect for someone he never would have noticed before. And even though he didn't know it yet, this moment would be the beginning of a bond that would change both their lives forever. Asterisk. The hospital corridor was silent, except for the soft beeping of machines and the distant echo of footsteps. Liam sat beside his father's hospital bed, holding his hand. Mr. Anderson was recovering, but his leg was wrapped in a cast, and his face still showed signs of pain. "Dad," Liam whispered, "that boy. The one who helped us, do you know where he went?" Mr. Anderson blinked weakly. "The doctor said someone brought him to the emergency room too," he said. "He inhaled a lot of smoke and has some burns, but he's stable." Liam's heart lifted a little. "Can I see him?" His father nodded slowly. "We owe that boy our lives." A few hours later, Liam walked quietly down the hall, guided by a nurse. She stopped outside a small room. "He's resting," she said gently. "But you can go in." Inside, Arjun lay on a simple hospital bed. His arm was bandaged, and his face looked pale, but he was awake. The moment he saw Liam, he smiled weakly. "Hey, rich boy," he said, with a little laugh. "You okay?" Liam grinned back shyly. "Thanks to you." He sat beside the bed, his eyes full of curiosity and admiration. "You were so brave," he said softly. "You didn't even know us, but you helped us." Arjun shrugged. "Doesn't matter if I knew you or not. You needed help." Those words hit Liam deeply. He thought about how so many people had stood by watching during the accident. But this boy, poor, barefoot, and hungry, had been the only one to act. A nurse walked in with a small tray of soup. "Here, you need to eat," she told Arjun kindly. He nodded and took it, but when she left, Liam noticed something strange. Arjun barely ate any of it. "Don't you like it?" Liam asked. Arjun smiled faintly. "It's not that. I'm not used to eating this much. I don't want to waste it." Liam's eyes softened. "Do you live alone?" Arjun hesitated. His smile faded, replaced by a distant look. "Yeah. My mom passed away 2 years ago. She got sick, and I couldn't get her to a doctor in time. Since then, I've been on my own. I sell small toys and flowers at traffic lights. It's enough to get by." Liam felt a lump in his throat. "You mean, you sleep outside?" "Most nights," Arjun said, trying to sound casual. "Sometimes I find an empty bus stop or behind a shop. It's not so bad." Liam didn't know what to say. He had never imagined someone his age living like that. No bed, no meals, no parents. His heart ached. Later that evening, Mr. Anderson came to visit too. When he entered the room, Arjun tried to sit up straight. "Sir," he said nervously, "I didn't mean to cause any trouble. I just wanted to help." Mr. Anderson smiled warmly. "You didn't cause trouble, son. You saved our lives." "I don't even know how to thank you." Arjun lowered his head. "You don't have to, sir. I just did what anyone should do." But Mr. Anderson shook his head. "Not everyone would do what you did. Many people just watched. You're special, Arjun." Hearing his name spoken kindly made the boy's eyes shine. It had been a long time since someone had said his name with respect. Before leaving, Mr. Anderson told the nurse to make sure Arjun stayed until he was fully recovered, all expenses paid. When Arjun heard that, he looked at Liam, almost embarrassed. "He doesn't have to do that," he said quietly. "Yes, he does," Liam replied with a small smile. "Because you deserve it." The next few days changed something in both boys. Liam visited Arjun every afternoon after school, bringing books, snacks, and stories from his life. Arjun would laugh at how boring rich life sounded and tell Liam about the colorful chaos of the streets, the food stalls, the music, the people who lived day to day but still found a way to smile. Slowly, they became friends to boys from completely different worlds, connected by one unforgettable moment of courage. One evening, as the sky outside turned orange with sunset, Liam asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Arjun looked out the window for a moment, thinking, "I don't know, maybe someone who helps people, like a firefighter or a rescuer. I don't ever want to see someone die just because nobody was brave enough to help." Liam nodded. "You already are that person," he said softly. The next morning, when Mr. Anderson was discharged from the hospital, he made sure to stop by Arjun's room one last time. "You saved my life, Arjun," he said sincerely, "and I want to make sure you get the life you deserve. You shouldn't be living on the streets anymore." Arjun looked shocked. "Sir, what do you mean?" Mr. Anderson smiled. "I mean, you'll come live with us at least until you finish your studies. We'll help you get into school. You'll have a home, a bed, food, everything you need." Arjun's eyes widened. For a moment, he didn't speak. Then he shook his head, tears welling up. "No, sir, I can't. You've already done too much." But Mr. Anderson stepped closer and put a hand on his shoulder. "This isn't charity. This is gratitude. You saved my family. Now let me save yours." Arjun's lips trembled. I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Liam said with a grin. For the first time in a long while, Arjun laughed, a bright, honest laugh that filled the whole room. "Okay," he whispered. "Yes." And just like that, a boy who once slept under the open sky found a home, a friend, and a future. Neither Liam nor his father knew it yet, but this small act of gratitude would create something much bigger, a lifelong bond built on courage, kindness, and the belief that one brave heart can change everything. Months passed, and life began to change in ways Arjun could never have imagined. The boy who once woke up to the sound of car horns and street vendors now woke up to sunlight streaming through a clean window, a warm bed beneath him, and the gentle smell of breakfast drifting from the kitchen. At first, Arjun couldn't believe this was real. Every morning he would wake up thinking it was just another dream that would fade away when he opened his eyes. But it wasn't. Liam and Mr. Anderson had truly welcomed him into their home, not as a guest, but as family. Liam and Arjun quickly became inseparable. They studied together, played together, and shared stories from their pasts. Liam would often laugh at how Arjun could fix almost anything in the house, a broken toy, a jammed door, even the squeaky faucet that had annoyed everyone for weeks. "You're a genius," Liam would say. And Arjun would just smile. But beneath his smile, Arjun never forgot where he came from. Every time they passed the street corner where he used to sell flowers, his heart tightened a little. He remembered the nights he had slept hungry, the people who had ignored him, and the small boy he once was, scared. Cold, but still hopeful. One evening, as they sat in the garden watching the sunset, Mr. Anderson joined them. "Boys," he said, his voice gentle, "I have something to tell you." They looked up curiously. "I've decided to start a foundation," Mr. Anderson continued. "A charity that helps children like Arjun street kids who have no one to care for them. We'll give them food, shelter, and education. I want you both to help me with it." Liam's eyes lit up. "Really, Dad?" Mr. Anderson smiled. "Yes, it's the least I can do. If it weren't for Arjun, I wouldn't even be here." Arjun looked stunned. "Sir, you're doing this because of me." Mr. Anderson nodded. "Because of you and because of what you taught me. You showed me that real wealth is not in what we have, but in what we give." Tears filled Arjun's eyes. For a long moment, he couldn't speak. All he could do was nod, feeling an emotion too strong for words. Over the next few years, the foundation grew. Arjun worked hard, helping organize events, talking to street children, and sharing his story to inspire them. He visited the same alleys and markets where he had once struggled. But this time, he came back not as a beggar, but as a savior. One day, as Arjun walked through the busy streets handing out food packets, a small boy tugged at his shirt. "Baya," the child said shyly. "Why do you do all this? You're rich now. You don't have to." Arjun knelt down, smiling gently. "Because once I was you," he said softly, "and someone helped me when I had nothing. Now it's my turn." The boy smiled, and Arjun handed him a meal pack. As the child ran off happily, Arjun stood there, feeling the wind brush his face, a reminder of how far he had come to home. Mr. Anderson watched him from the balcony, a proud smile on his face. "You've made me proud, son," he said, when Arjun came back. "Me?" Arjun laughed. "I wouldn't be here without you." Mr. Anderson shook his head. "No, Arjun, you saved me before I ever saved you." Liam joined them, putting an arm around both. "We saved each other," he said simply. That night, as they sat together for dinner, three people from completely different worlds. There was no difference between rich or poor, powerful or powerless. There were just hearts connected by kindness, courage, and gratitude. Years later, Arjun became the director of the foundation. Hundreds of children got homes, education, and a second chance because of him. Reporters often asked him, "What inspired you to dedicate your life to helping others?" He always gave the same answer. "Once, someone believed in me when no one else did." That one act of kindness changed everything. One rainy night, similar to the night he had first met Liam, Arjun visited the same intersection where it all began. He looked at the spot where Mr. Anderson's car had crashed years ago. The street was quiet now, the puddles reflecting the city lights. He stood there for a long time, whispering a silent thank you, not just to fate, but to the boy he once was. A voice suddenly called behind him. "Arjun, what are you doing here?" It was Liam, holding 2 cups of tea. Arjun smiled. "Just remembering," he said. "This is where everything changed." Liam handed him a cup. "You know, if I hadn't shouted that day, 'Please rescue my father,' I might have lost both him and you." Arjun chuckled softly. "Maybe we were meant to meet." Sometimes the smallest cry for help brings two lives together forever. The rain began to fall, but they didn't move. They stood side by side, sipping tea, watching the water dance on the streets, the same streets that had once separated them, now binding them with a story the world would never forget. And in that quiet, rainy night, one truth echoed louder than any storm. Real family isn't always the one we're born into. Sometimes It's the one we find when we choose to care.